What does that
Yeah.
What does that mean specifically? Occupational therapy is therapy as an occupation, or therapy?
Exactly. Wow.
But when you say it, it means it to me. My mind registers it as you are a therapist specializing in doing therapy for people with specific occupations.
Well, occupation, if you look at it like whatever occupies your time, that is the best way to look at it. So it can vary across the lifespan. Kids' occupation would be play, right? Because that's what they do to fill their time.
Not my kids. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, now it's like staring at your phone. Can you operate a YouTube video?
Yeah.
That's the kid's occupation. And then for someone like our age, our occupation is our job, or what you traditionally think of as occupation.
Okay.
Right. But I work with the senior population, so their occupation, they'll always say to me, honey, I don't have a job. I don't need any OT. But their occupation is just their daily routine.
I was going to say they're at home doing whatever they do during the day, and you help them do that, right? Or have the ability to do that.
So you specialize in senior living, or you only work with senior living?
I only work with seniors.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I have only done that. Basically, I worked with kids for maybe like a year after I got out of school, and it's just really hard. It was really hard for me to work with kids. Like emotionally, it's hard because the parents are dealing with looking at their kids knowing that, like, let's say they were diagnosed with autism. That's a pretty permanent thing, and they're always going to have to figure out how to deal with it. So that was just really hard. And working with adults, they make progress, and we can meet goals, and it's a short-term thing most of the time. So.
And how much is it is physical versus mental? Like, do you play? What part of that? I'm sure you have some part of that's both. I mean, that they're hand in hand as far as health goes. Mm-hmm. So, are you making health references physically as well as for kind of what to do with your mind?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm just thinking I have one patient right now who had a stroke, but he has dementia too. So a lot of it is physical. Like, can you sit up at the edge of the bed? Can you start to move your affected hand? Mm-hmm. Can you stand up? Can we start to take some steps? So that is physical, but he's got to have his mind in the game too, so that he remembers and gets his body to actually be able to do these things. And that's one of the things when caregivers come along, like this particular guy, he has 24-hour care. Mm-hmm. Their tendency is to do things for him because it's easier for everybody, right? It's easier for the caregiver just to do it than to wait for him to struggle.
But he needs to be able to move, right?
Yeah. So people of that age, like 85, literally will forget how to feed themselves if they don't do it. So a lot of it is physical. Can you pick up the spoon and get it to your mouth? But it's also memory and motivation, quite honestly. Sure. Because when it's hard to do something like feed yourself, it's much easier to let someone else do it.
And probably some accountability too. I mean, depending on kind of who the person is. Mm-hmm. Where and your focus is like keeping them at home, right? Servicing people so they don't have to be taken away from what is their home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, or bringing them back home. Because right now, I don't know if you know, but the restrictions are if someone's in a nursing home or an assisted living, the state has said, no can do, no visitors. So they have not had visitors for about a year.
I have heard that.
What? Just at all?
It's rough because of COVID, right?
At all. Because of COVID.
And it's like husband and wife even. I've heard of like well, actually, I think I've seen that if they're in the same home, they still have to stay in the same assisted living home, have to stay separate. Mm-hmm. And it's sad.
Yeah, it is awful. It's awful. So I'm thinking of a different patient now. But he had a stroke too. So he had a stroke. They send people to rehab at nursing centers sometimes. And if they make progress, great. They can advance and go home. But sometimes they don't. And they're like, well, we're going to have a long-term resident. He can just move in here. Well, he started to kind of decline and he was never going to make progress to be able to go home. They're like, forget it. We're going to hire private care and bring him home. So they brought him, and that was all because the family couldn't see him at all.
Sure.
They cannot, not even through the windows or anything.
Oh, wow.
So here they've been married for 55 years. In the last 5 months of his life, just insane. So anyway,
Yeah.
they brought him home with caregivers, and I'm working with him right now, teaching the caregivers how to most effectively take care of him, teaching the family how to give him his meds and all that kind of stuff. And he should be okay to be home. We'll get him a power wheelchair, all that cool stuff. And it should be okay. But at least in the end of his life, because, I mean, it's not going to be that much longer, but at least he'll be at home. Yes, it's going to cost some money, but he'll be there having meaning in the rest of his days.
With his family.
With his family.
Is that something that insurance helps with, or is it all private pay?
It depends on everybody's situation. So the therapy itself, as long as it's medically necessary and justifiable, which that's my job to decide if it is justifiable, then Medicare Part B will pick it up and pay for it, depending on what Medicare. If they have Medicare Part B or different, I don't even know, Medicare Advantage plans, PPOs, HMOs, depending on what they have, it will pay a good amount for the therapy. And then if they're veterans, or if they have, hopefully they have long-term care insurance, that is huge, then that can pay for some of the care. So long-term care insurance is highly recommended now, like if you're 50 or something like that. Get it so that when you're old, you can have stuff taken care of. But if they don't have any long-term care insurance and they weren't a veteran, there's probably not much that insurance will pay for, unfortunately.
What is that less common than at least insurance helping some? Hopefully that at least some help from the insurance company is more frequent.
Well, insurance does not pay for like home care. So home care would be an aide coming in and helping you bathe or dress or go to the store or be a companion. They don't, period. So now Medicare will pay for home health, which is a medically necessary service where a nurse would come in. So let's say someone has a wound and they're homebound, they can't get out of the house. Then a nurse can come in. That's a short-term, like 6-week thing. So Medicare will pay for a short term of that, but that's not care. That's not like someone helping you bathe and dress and get out.
What about, does insurance play any part with the actual homes? Like when someone's in like an assisted living home or anything like that? Insurance, they don't help with that?
Nope.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a real...
It's just nothing?
Nope. That's why planning is so vital for families to plan ahead. So hopefully they have money. Yeah. And there are certain benefits like for veterans. There's the VA aid and attendance, and you would have to talk to an elder law attorney to understand that. People can get Medicaid if they literally have no assets or they're willing to like spend all their money so that they can qualify for it. And that will pay for nursing home. But that's like skilled, the highest level of care. And you don't want to have to, nobody dreams of going to a nursing home.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Well, they do, but it's in their nightmares that they're dreaming that. So, yeah, keeping them home makes the most sense financially, as long as we can come up with a plan that makes sense financially. 24-hour care costs like 15 to 18 grand a month.
Wow.
Golly. Who is the decision maker in these conversations? Usually it's probably not the person that the care is being negotiated for.
Usually like their
Right.
kids
Is it their
or something
kids
like
or
that.
spouse or something like that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it could be the spouse if they're well enough and able, but keep in mind they're usually elderly
Equally,
too.
For sure.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of times the adult kids.
Man. What
Like
a tough
50
decision.
and 60 years old. We call them the sandwich generation because they've got mom and dad who are having trouble getting around. Then usually they've got kids like our age probably, or your age, and then grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
And so those people in the 50s and 60s in the sandwich generation, man, they've got it tough if they've got it coming at them from all angles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to be prepared for that 50 to 60 gap. That's
Yeah,
a big
my
one.
parents are about that age, and my dad's parents they definitely need help getting around the house, but they live with my aunt, so that's different.
Okay.
But then they got me, so they're definitely in the middle, in
Yeah.
the sandwich age.
Right.
But you think about that, though. I mean, you're sparing a whole family member at that point. That's probably her full-time capacity is just to help them if she lives there. Or if
Yeah,
they
it's
live
pretty
there.
much just them two down in the mother-in-law suite in her house. She's upstairs, but they have walkers around their house, and I think sometimes the dog will go down there, which is dangerous. Get in the way of their walkers, but yeah, they're in their 90s.
What is the like, speaking about kind of people in their 90s, what is like, I'm trying to think the best way to ask this. So like, you have people in their house, they're older, 80s, 90s, they need your help. What is the way that someone goes about referring them? Like, how does that conversation start? Is that amongst family members and they just kind of look out for resources? Like, how do people find you?
Yep, that could be. I always picture a lady in her 50s sitting at the hospital. Well, it used to be they could go to the hospital. Maybe now she's just getting a phone call. Your mom fell. We took her to the emergency room. So she's like, ah. And while she's waiting to hear what happened, she's on her phone probably looking for what am I going to do with mom now that she fell?
Sure.
So that's what I picture happening. Or maybe she calls her friend, my mom just fell. I don't know what to do. Or the next day she's at work. You know what, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm really stressed out. My mom fell last night. I don't know what's happening. So a lot of that word of mouth searching is how people will probably find me.
Okay.
So
what capacity do you work at? Like, how many clients do you have now? And what is like your kind of top capacity for people that you could manage?
Well, it's actually super limited.
For sure.
Because it's
right now it's just me.
Yeah.
And I only have so many hours in the day. Plus,
and I imagine you have a lot of flexibility with
Yeah.
that too, is the ability to kind of stop what you're doing and put your attention to something else if necessary.
Well, luckily, therapy isn't exactly emergency. So usually people will get home or they'll be like, we have to figure out what we're going to do about this.
Sure.
So it's not like, oh my word, we have to do something now. But it's, okay, we have to figure this out. So the best case scenario is that I can plan to go and see someone and help them figure out a plan. And then they take action on the plan. That would be best. So if mom or dad had a fall and they need someone urgently to assess the situation, I mean, that happens. But I could see, to address your capacity question, I can see like 4 patients a day. That's like my goal. So if I do it 5 days a week, that's 20 patients.
20 patients would be pushing it.
Yeah, that's
would be
pushing
max.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then hopefully I'm putting them on treatment plans, right? So I assess them one time and I'm like, here's what you need. Let me follow up with you. Or if it's someone who's had a stroke and they need strengthening and they need training to be able to stand up and get going again, they should be seen like 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh my gosh.
So my capacity is probably like 15 clients at one time.
Okay.
And then, but we'll be adding therapists.
So I was
So
about
that's
to
just
ask,
right now.
Yeah.
that was my next question, is what is like the next step? What is the next phase of your business? Is it adding therapists? Is it adding I can't imagine adding a location is probably super high on the totem pole.
Well, the sweet thing is we don't have location. We go to our patients' homes.
Yeah, but you probably don't even need you don't even need an office. You don't even
You have
need
a home
nest.
office or something.
Yeah.
Yep, on my computer, basically. That just for documentation. Yeah, but I can live on a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live anywhere. Or I don't need a home office is my point. But I go see all my patients at their homes because what better way to know what they really need and what they're really dealing with than in their environment.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
and are you going to kind of add those therapists by demand? Is like, okay, I'm getting to 15. I got some more stuff in the pipeline or in the hopper. I'm going to, bring someone in, split my responsibilities, and then keep growing until you got everybody else doing the work in and you're doing the work on your business.
Yes, although I love being with my patients.
Sure.
But now, like I was saying earlier, a lot of what I have to do is drum up the business and then do the management side of it. So then I'll probably see like 3 patients a week. So I'll probably build up the therapists first
Okay.
and fill them up once they're full. I'll start filling my own schedule.
Will they be contractors of yours?
Mm-hmm, I think so.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Wow.
The whole idea is like I'm helping seniors to be free and empower them, but then I want other therapists to be free and empower their lives too, because working in corporate, even in a hospital, is like 8 to 5, very demanding. You know, there's productivity expectations. And if I can let them work for what meets their own needs and empower them to meet their own goals, the therapist, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then everybody gets freedom.
Yeah.
And empowerment. How have the skills from your past jobs, or I guess not really job, can't really call real estate a job. I guess you can. I mean, it's an occupation. That's what it is. It's an occupation. How have you found some of your skills there kind of lend themselves very handy to drumming up business in this space as well? Yeah,
isn't it cool how life goes? Because it's like you travel along and you build up all these skills and you don't even know why you think you're using them for one thing. Like for me, I thought that I was learning sales to be a realtor, but now being in business, it's not about, especially like as an OT, having an OT business, I can't just wait around for referrals. I have to go make contacts and find referrals and drum up the business. So all that real estate is, it's the same exact thing. Make your call, make your contacts, find out who needs to sell their house. It's all referral based, exactly like OT is. So all of my skills that I used as a realtor, I'll use with my patients. And then, of course, I have tons of seniors who shouldn't be in a 3-level home anymore unless they're going to live in the in-law suite.
Yeah.
In the basement. They shouldn't pull into the garage under the house, walk up 20 steps, cook dinner, and then walk up 20 more steps to go to bed. That's not safe.
Couldn't imagine.
So really my background as a realtor, I can definitely help them when they need to sell that house and get into a better house. Because I've had clients in their 80s before where they're a realtor in the past. I mean, there are tons of great realtors, but they don't think about things like an OT would.
Sure.
So they help them buy a ranch house. Right, that's true. I mean, who could blame them? But they bought a ranch house, but their driveway is like this.
Sure.
So when they got out of the car, they're falling out of the car before they even get into the house.
And rolling all the way to their road.
So you think of like the safety of their house as well.
Yeah, so we ended up buying them a new ranch house, and I say we bought them. They ended up buying
themselves.
They bought themselves a ranch house that fit them even better, so that they really can age in place. Because the one that they bought,
driveway,
and wide doorways, and
one level.
Oh my goodness! What a terrible. What a terrible realization that you've just sold these people their house and they're at an extraordinarily liable place to be hurt. Gosh.
Yeah.
What a horrible feeling. What a horrible feeling.
Yeah, don't do that. Just let me work with the older people.
Yeah, I got you.
You do young people.
I got you. So that's another thing kind of that's curious too, is that as your real estate agents are probably going to be one of the people that are going to be a good source of referrals for you now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You kind of, I mean, I'm sure realtors, and there's several industries like that. Realtors, they network with realtors, and lawyers network with lawyers. Chiropractors network with chiropractors. Having that small nest of realtors is going to be extraordinarily valuable for you moving forward.
Yeah,
it's different. It's very different.
Yeah, it's a different skill set for sure. And then realtors talk to everybody. So
sure.
That's nice.
I hope so, at least. They should if they want to be good realtors.
Yep.
But that's exciting, though. I appreciate all the information that you've given us today. How, other than the networking stuff, I want to fully include her to the best of our abilities and to the maximum capacity for all of our networking opportunities. My Master Networks group, MP Group presents. There's several other networking organizations we frequent, like the women's group that's kind of niched themselves down. So we can open the doors kind of to all of that for you, and then probably make some. Do you know Dee? She probably
Dee Mathewson.
Yeah, you probably
I love her. She actually sold
awesome.
She sold our house for his new husband. That's how he found out about BNI. Now
cool.
my husband and her are in the same BNI group.
Awesome.
People like that more. Actually, Yesterday, the Appalachian overhead people.
Yeah, I
might be
was
good
telling her about
connection
the garage door company that we met with yesterday.
because they're like they're in Resaca, so they're in like you know White, you know White, and then there's like Waleska and then Resaca, so they're in Waleska, and so that area is where there's so many old people out there that live there.
Oh,
honestly,
there?
I mean,
I don't know that area.
There's an obnoxious amount of old people out there because everywhere you just have more space. I mean, you just have more area to do whatever you want with. So people go out there and they get comfortable and they stay there. I mean, everybody that lived around me, like everybody's house that I could hit with a rock, had lived there for like 30 years. Like that was the type of area that I lived in. Every single person around me was so old. I loved them. They were great people. Like you need any type of additive to your recipe, they definitely got it. Like you need
lots of it.
Yeah, some sugar, some salt, any type of spice. Like I will walk over there and ask for one thing, leave with 7 things. You know, the nicest people in the world, but they just don't leave.
Yeah,
they just don't leave. Yeah, you should introduce them too. But how else can we help you?
Well, I mean, any education that I can provide to seniors, like fall prevention, and I don't know if that's an opportunity to do on a podcast or not, but like fall prevention, networking with people who are in the homes with seniors is a big deal.
I just thought about another connection that I have for you as well. So our Master Networks group used to meet at the Solana in East Cobb.
Oh, yes.
The director of that whole place there it was the person that was connected with us there. I don't think those people in those nursing homes are a big fan of the people being in those nursing homes because they were partnering with a company that was they were sending referrals to a company that was doing in-home care, and I don't even think that company's in business anymore.
Home care or therapy?
Home, not kind of both. So a little bit of both. So the company was wearing both hats, but they had brands that coexisted as home therapy as well as home care and transport. So they had like more like a Visiting Angels type of brand as well as like a home therapy type of brand. I don't even know if they're in business anymore. I'm pretty sure that they sold their book of business. So that may be an opportunity that I can create for you as well.
Cool.
To introduce you to those people.
Yeah.
But cool.
That's the director of Solana? Is it Frida?
I think, no. She's the person that sits at the front desk right there. Frida she sits right at the front desk as you walk in. The director's a man. It's an older man.
Okay.
And he's very sharp. Like, he's very quick-witted guy. I can't remember his name. David Bell introduced me to him, if you know who that is, the chiropractor.
I know David.
I can make an introduction to you. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but I can introduce you to him.
Okay, cool.
He'll remember.
Cool.
Me. So cool. Yeah, anything that you have specific to the podcast, so everything that we record here, this definitely is, but everything that we record here, we don't expect to be right in line with the brand of releasing our stuff. If there is value to you, recording 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 episodes of different information, that getting it out to your market is essential. That's good marketing material for you.
Any education would be huge.
This room here does not work as often as it should. Okay. So if you want to come bounce ideas off Jordin and talk about it and educate Jordin, Jordin is fantastic at sitting here and listening. You can educate Jordin. Educate Jordin on fall prevention. Yeah. Take the video and educate the world with it. You're more than welcome to use this stuff. Like I said, we might not release it, we might not edit it for you, but
but you can have it.
Yeah, you can have it. You can use it. You can record it, and you can send it to the world as much as you want.
Cool.
For sure.
Cool. Great.
Cool.
And I'll connect a lot of people with you guys to do podcasts and have business.
Yeah, podcasts would be great. That's a good stuff. And credit card processing too. That's what we love. Referrals.
Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah, referrals. Yeah, that's right. We're a podcast company that does credit card processing now. You know it. Did you know?
Have you read Start With Why?
I have. Oh, yeah, Simon Sinek.
Oh, it's just huge about this is what we do is we help businesses empower themselves and spread the word.
I think Jordan's first ever meeting there was Start With Why video. That was like one of your first Monday morning meetings was the Start With Why video that I played.
Maybe.
So it definitely was.
I'll trust you on that.
I show it a lot. The Start With Why video is so good, and he talks about it in the terms of Apple. And he's talking about how we solve problems for people, but we just so happen to make we just so happen to make really good computers. That's what we do.
Right.
Is we connect people, we network with people, and we just so happen to be really good at saving people money on credit card processing.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about when you came in, how McDonald's, they're basically in the real estate business. They just happen to sell burgers.
Mm-hmm. No, McDonald's is definitely in the real estate
not basically.
business.
It is in the real estate business.
Yeah, they're the largest landholders in North America. I'm pretty sure Ted Turner's like top 5.
Yeah.
He owns like 60% of like the whole state of Google this actually before I talk out of my ass. It's like 60% of like the whole state of Montana.
Who's this?
Ted Turner.
He owns Montana?
And that sounds preposterous, and I can't wait for Tristan to prove me right. It's like 30% of Montana or something like that.
I think we just went from 60 to 30, but...
it's something crazy. It's something crazy like that. 30 sounded better.
Well, honestly, Montana is isn't it like a humongous state?
Yep.
So to own 10% of it would be like, whoa.
To own 10% of any state. If you own 10% of Rhode Island, you own a lot of land.
Yeah.
That's true.
How much is it?
I'm not finding the percentage that you're saying, but
2 million acres.
Oh, and a whole bunch of states.
roughly equal to twice as large as Rhode Island.
Oh my
God.
Wow. Who is John Malone?
Oh, there he
That
is.
guy.
He could probably use some therapy.
I was just
thinking
that.
There you go.
He's got the money for you. Yeah. He's got the money for you. You better charge him a mint. I don't know. He owns a ton, and it doesn't even say Montana. Go back up to what it says. Largest private herd of bison in the world.
Interesting. Why?
Yeah.
I wonder.
I was gonna say Georgia. Yeah.
It's a good question. You got a stupid amount of money. CNN, Turner Broadcasting, TBS is just outrageous money. But yeah, I digress. We'll help you.
Who knew?
For sure. Anything that you have, episodes-wise, content stuff, marketing, anything we can help you with as you continue to grow your team of clients, therapists, podcasts, referrals, any of that we can do for you. We'll do for you.
And how can people find you? Do you have a Facebook page?
Yep, it's Home Therapy Solutions of Georgia. Mm-hmm. The website is Georgia Home. Well, it's GA, Georgia. GA, Home Therapy.
Okay.
Yep, and mostly people want to talk to me first and see if I'm a good fit for their loved one, so they can give me a call too.
Okay.
Cool. I hope they would.
Yep.
I hope they would. If you're doing a bunch of closes without people talking to you on the phone first, I would be like...
It'd be a little sketchy for them.
You're doing something right, though. I know that. I would be asking what you're doing.
That would be
what
amazing.
You're doing right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.